So a lot of people out there are claiming to be innovators of styles, right? So what's happening is that we have mixed martial arts and this new surgence of new material, and we have the old world stuff. And a lot of people are saying that there's a lot of dead drills and the times have changed, and a lot of people are being innovators. And that innovation, you see, is a lot of it starts by criticizing other systems. So anytime you learn a martial art, you're going to figure out that once you know your martial art, it has holes. All martial arts have holes. All of them. There's not one martial art that I've seen that doesn't have a hole. All of them have holes and strengths and weaknesses. By exploiting, observing, and developing those weaknesses improves your system. So you can improve upon your system. But even let's say you were to try to be a Sijo, which is a creator or a starter of a system. Let's say that you try to be your own creator of a martial arts system. You think freestyle is the epitome of everything? So shadow boxing or just random moves? At some point during your creation of a system, you will have to create drills. At some point, you will develop a style of fighting. Whether you like it or not, there will be some type of style that suits your body type, your size, your personality, and you will have to document your knowledge. That documentation of knowledge can be done through forms, drills, or sparring, or weapons. These are time-tested materials. And let's say we were to take your new system. That system, I guarantee you, will have holes in it. So what I'm trying to say is, when we look at martial arts systems from the past, Chinese, Filipino, Indonesian, Japanese, of course they're not completely finalized. They're not the answer to everything. But you can use that as a basis to teach you how to fight. You can use it as a basis, as a connection to your history, as a connection to your teacher, as a connection to your past. And then you could also use modern day material to springboard it into the future. But don't disparage the past and don't criticize it to the point where you feel like you're the one where you're a genius, you're super innovative and nobody else is creative, and you have insights into things that simply nobody else had. That's not true. Because even if you were to try to create your own system, even if you were to try, it would have to be documented through those 4 pillars of sparring, drills, or forms, or weapons. It has to be done through there. So when we take something from the old days, and then we learn how to use it improvisationally, that to us was our way of creating something new based off of the old. And we still do that to this day. Now it's very popular now that other people learn several systems. And then they're able to play with different aspects of it. And that's great, because not one system has the answer to everything. At a certain point, you will reach your form of completion. I mean, there's some people who have 9 black belts, for goodness sakes. My teacher in Chinese martial arts, Great Grandmaster Y.C. Wong, he studied 4 or 5 styles of Chinese martial arts. And that led to his form eventually of completion as he matured. That's what lasted his life. My teacher in Penjok Silat learned Sirak, Samandi, Sikalong, and then he had his own improvisational-like style. It's 4 different styles of Silat mixed with Wing Chun and Judo. It's like 6 systems he spent his whole life doing. Kathy Long, 5-time world champion, she knows Sansu Kung Fu, she knows street fighting tactics, she knows mixed martial arts, boxing, Muay Thai, Filipino martial arts. She's a master of like how many different martial arts? And then my Eskrima teacher only knew one martial art, but that one martial art, whatever you do with a hand, can work with a knife, can work with a stick. So what I'm trying to tell you is every master, after a certain point, they've gathered enough information where that led them across the bridge. Think of it like a canoe. You're on one side looking at what you think is a master, and then you hop on this boat, and then it eventually reaches you there. That might come in the form of 4 different martial arts. It might come in the form of one martial art, but then you learn like a form, and then you learn 20 different applications for one move. And so you take one martial art and you make it this big, and then you learn how to fight with it. In some martial arts, there's a whole series of people who just learn one martial art to completion. They learn how to fight with it, they learn drills for it, and then they grew it. So what I'm saying is martial arts is a living entity, and be careful before you start claiming mastery over something and throwing away the past and talking about how much you're of an innovator and disparaging the old ways. Don't disparage the old ways, because that's who we are today is based on the old. Do I believe in innovation? Yes. Innovation, if it's not changing, if it's not breathing, it's not surviving. But it shouldn't change without its fundamentals intact. Okay, there's certain ways of movement. There's certain ways of principles of blocking. There's certain ways of defense. There's certain ways of countering. There's certain principles of fighting that are embedded. They're universal principles. And I wrote a book about that called The Golden Thread, Universal Principles Across Warrior Arts. Because there's principles of fighting that should never leave. And then there's principles of your tradition as well that you can hold on to, but you got to know the rules in order to bend and break them. So do I believe that fighting, I don't look at fighting like Chinese style, Indonesian, Filipino. I look at it as the principles, the inherent foundation of fighting. Now I hold my traditions intact, but then I also, when I'm learning, when I'm doing fighting or forms or drills, or when I'm playing with it, as I'm trying to say, or uncover it, I take it apart and put it back together like a bunch of Legos. And that gives me thousands of pieces to create, boop, 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 all these new things. Now, does that make me a creator of a new system? During those moments I am, but I haven't branded it, stuck a label on it, said I'm the master of it, and pushed it out into the world. But do I create on a daily basis? Now, do you create? Absolutely. You create, you innovate every time you go to work. You think of, .com, you think of the computer industry, they're always innovating. You think of oil and gas, big money, they're always innovating. You think of medical history, they're innovating. You think of my Balintawak, it's innovating. You think of everything, it's innovating, it's growing, but it's based upon foundational systems that can take a long time to develop. And that's what it takes to be a master. You have to be a master first, and that's what it takes is for somebody who spent a lifetime doing martial arts, who knows the inside and out of a system, and then eventually can grow onto it and make it better or make themselves better through several systems. So what I'm saying is, let's not trash tradition. It has its time and place. And to be an innovator of a system, I think you need to have sufficient enough knowledge in order to do that. But are we innovators? I think it's in our natural nature to be innovators. All of us are. We are all creators. We're all innovators. So just take that into consideration, and I hope that it serves you well. I hope this knowledge serves you well in your journey. Don't forget your past, where you came from, and look to the future. Look at mixed martial arts. Look at the ancient stuff. And somewhere in the middle is where I lie. I mix them together. And if you're just doing mixed martial arts, cool. You guys are still figuring out new ways to do leg locks and different holds and different ways of escaping. And we look at the past, and if you're of our generation now, I hope you're improving those once you master the system as well. For me, I'd like the old and the new put together. That's where I lie. And always test your material. But that's how I feel about innovation. We're all naturally creators, so don't fight against our natural urge, and don't go against the foundational systems of the past. And that's a great way to be a superlative martial artist. Thank you for watching.